So that was a wrap for day one, and the agenda for today was finding purpose and finding meaning in life. I know so many people that I work with on a day-to-day basis who have this feeling of existential crisis, if I might use those words, primarily because of just how much work and the nature of what we do has changed. If you can rewind the clock back to 10 years ago, life was significantly different than what it is today. Just the sheer amount of innovation, the impact that technology has on life, how work has changed, and how these new technologies have come back and influenced what we do at work has kind of significantly created this talent and the skill gap. And a lot of the leaders today who are in powerful positions, in amazing positions, in some amazing and incredible companies, are feeling this pressure of constantly reinventing themselves. So I think the day kind of started with me trying to find meaning and purpose in not just work and not just craft, but also other aspects of life. Like, how do I, create a better outlook for my family, and how do I make sure that I build my relationships and make sure that those relationships are a source of happiness. How do I make sure that my relationships with not just my peers at work, but also my spouse and my family and my friends is something that I constantly have the opportunity to look back to and indulge and participate in on an active basis. So I started the day with trying to understand what motivates me as an individual, and things about work in a qualitative aspect. And it's extremely important to find motivations because there's a reason you get out of bed every single day. There's a reason why you go into work every single day. There's a reason you want to spend time with somebody every single day. So what I did was try and understand motivations on a slightly larger scale, and come back and reflect on why does these individual things bring me happiness. So once I found these individual motivations, what I did was I tried to understand baseline factors. And baseline factors are things like, what's your compensation at work? Are you happy in the role that you have? Do you need to feel more empowered? So there are these individual, tangible things about the life that you lead, the work that you do, the relationships that you have, that kind of interfere in your motivation. So, let's say you're extremely motivated to build an incredible product or start your own company. Well, baseline factors like compensation are going to come in that way, because you cannot possibly leave your job if you don't have the funding, or if you don't have a buffer in the bank to support you for the next couple of months. So understanding your motivations and looking at it relative to your baseline factors allows you to measure your risk capacity as an individual and try and understand how much risk can you actually take in order to pursue and continue pursuing your motivations. So another example is, if you'd like to spend more time with your family or with your children, what aspects of your baseline factors actually come back and end up influencing you not being allowed to participate in the thing that motivates you the most. So if you want to enjoy a game of chess with your children at the end of the day, or a game of Monopoly, the baseline factors of you just not having a job that allows you to leave at 5 o'clock every single day is going to affect that. So and then you can analyze, well, what is the risk that I can afford to take in that context to afford to spend more time and be deliberate about those changes. Then I try to spend some time understanding finding what I love. So if I have to kind of quote Steve Jobs, who said that you have one life and you need to spend your life doing some great work, and the only way to do great work is to truly love what you do. And if you haven't found love in what you do, then you have to keep looking. I know so many people who are stuck in these jobs that don't necessarily love what they do, and kind of go back every single day feeling demotivated by that. And I know so many other people who are looking to start their own companies or do something of their own, but there are so many things that hold them back. Luckily, I don't have that problem. I absolutely love what I do. So I had to be extremely deliberate about making sure that I hold on to that love. I'm making sure that I hold on to just the things that inspire me to get into work every single day, and the things that allow me to, really proudly say that I absolutely love what I do. And kind of being conscious about what aspects of my job are something that are a source of love for me. Then I try to understand what the deltas about present are, or deltas within the present, and what I'd like to change about my life, what I'd like to change about my work, what I'd like to change about the way that I interact with people, the way that I build my relationships. Because everybody has deltas and things can constantly improve. So kind of being again conscious about making sure that you're giving it your all is something that I investigated. And then towards the end, which is extremely important, right? You find your motivations, you find your baseline factors, you understand your risk capacity, you understand what brings you love. You kind of have to build a very deliberate strategy about some of these individual things. So it's not just enough to find the first four things, but you also have to lay down a strategy of, if you want to do X, then you'll have to change, aspects about your life in order to make sure that you fulfill your commitment to X. And what I did towards the end was look at everything that I possibly could, and everything that I wanted to change about my life, and try to make sure that I allocate resources, I allocate time, or I allocate some kind of an investment from my side to make sure that I address those, once I go back from my think week, and start looking at those things in a slightly more specific way. So I don't come back in my next think week and say, shit, nothing changed, and just making sure that I'm successful in making those changes. So that was pretty much my first day. The theme again was purpose, and I would say I really enjoyed it, having done this a multiple number of times and in many different ways. Obviously life evolves, and you as an individual evolve, and things around you change. It was nice to see just how much life has changed in the last decade. It was nice to see the things that me as an individual has accomplished in the last decade, but also excited about where life's gonna take us, and hopefully some of these videos that I'm creating in a cabin in the middle of nowhere actually inspire you to go out and find your own purpose and meaning in life, or at least give you a process of how do you address some of these individual things and take it from there. So I'll keep shooting these. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, share the love. If you like this, hit that like button. If you have comments, if you have questions, use the comment box. Write to me, pick up the phone and call me. If you don't have my number, just DM me. And definitely subscribe to this channel, because that's the only way that I know that people are watching and people are liking. So yeah, share the love, and I'll see you in the next video.